It's been a little more than 2 weeks since the remains of Vanessa Guillen were found along the Leon River in Bell County. Tonight, members of Guillen's family and the community gathered in downtown San Antonio as a way to honor her. Eyewitness News reporter Zach Briggs was there and has this report.
The pandemic didn't stop dozens of people from coming out to show their support for Vanessa Guillen, and they hope to get answers and justice for her family.
No justice! No peace! This is Military City, USA!
Guillen's memory lives on through her family, friends, and even strangers who've come together after her death. Now, I caught up with Janice Gonzalez, who helped organize the event as part of the No Mas movement. Gonzalez says the rally is all about bringing light to the mistreatment and overall injustices faced by Guillen during her time in the military. During the rally, people chanted, held signs, and shared stories about Guillen. We've learned Guillen's cousin also spoke at the event. President Donald Trump, who's called Guillen's death absolutely horrible, plans to meet with her family in a couple weeks where they'll discuss legislation aimed at preventing sexual assaults in the military. Gonzalez says this nationwide movement is bound to create change that will impact others who serve in the U.S. Armed Forces.
It begins and ends with Vanessa until she has justice, starting with the external investigation that we're pushing for, the congressional hearings, not to stop there though, right? Indictments, arrests, trial, sentencing.
The No Mas movement is a grassroots-led initiative dedicated to raising awareness about the issues faced by the Latino community. Tonight's rally also honored fallen Fort Hood soldier Gregory Morales. In downtown, I'm Zach Briggs, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.